Hey, it's Johara. Welcome back to my channel. So I'm going to be doing a long overdue video because I don't think I've actually really done Soy Luna videos, which makes me sad because one of my all-time favorite ships to ever exist is from that show. And I am obsessed with them. So I'm not going to talk about Soy Luna as a whole. I'm going to be talking about this ship. And Soy Luna fans are probably like, it's probably Luna and Lutteo. No, it's not. I'm sorry. I do like them. I do. They're kind of second, but they're also kind of even with Nina and Gaston. Um, but my favorite ship is Simone and Amber. Simone is my favorite character. I fell in love with him instantly. And Simone and Amber, I went into the show because I actually heard about the show from another YouTuber, one of my favorite YouTubers, uh, Kaylin McKillop. Definitely go subscribe to her if you like Disney, because she usually talks about Disney, but sometimes she talks about Barbie movies or Nick. So definitely recommend her channel. That's actually how I heard about Soy Luna, and so I decided to watch it, even though I don't speak Spanish, and because I was bored and everything she said about it kind of intrigued me. So I was like, sure, why not? I was bored one day. I figured why not, and I ended up actually really liking it, and but from her videos I already knew that Simone and Amber were going to be a thing. So I already noticed little things with them early on that was like there could definitely be something. Like I can see why they ended up getting together. So I kind of shipped them early on. I don't think they were my favorites at the very beginning just because there was such little content from them. And it was obvious that Luna and Mateo were the main ship, and they were gonna be the main ship throughout the show, especially with Luna being the main character. And in the very first episode, there was definitely something between Luna and Mateo, even though neither one of them would admit it. Um, and I'll get into why I prefer Simone and Amber. Um, but I don't actually remember when I was like, this is my favorite ship, because it's been at least a year, if not two, that I actually watched it for the first time. And I can't actually, I remember moments where I was like, ooh, I like them a lot, but I can't remember the exact moment where I was like, this is my favorite ship. Let alone this is my favorite ship of all time. Because I don't know if they'd be my favorite ship of all time, but they are, and no doubt, in the top three. Which it is, because anyone who knows me knows my two all-time favorite ships in the entire world are Piper and Leo from Charmed and Tara and Willow from Buffy the Vampire Slayer. And it is very hard for a ship to be as high as the two of them, because those were two of my first adult ships, like my first actual ships, period, I think. Because I watched those when I was really little. I watched Disney and Nick and stuff, so I watched kids shows too, but I watched those adult shows when I was very little. And they are still two of my all-time favorite shows to this day, and those are still two of my all-time favorite ships to ever exist. And it's very hard for a ship to either beat them, especially to beat them, but to even be close to as good as them, in my opinion. Because I'm obsessed with those two ships to this very day. Um, and Simone and Amber, I just fell in love with them. And like I said, I wish I remember exactly what scene it was that made me realize just how much I actually love them. Um actually actually I think I do know. I don't I think I actually do know what scene it was. I think it was the in I don't remember the episode. I think it's like around episode 50 of season 2 when um Amber found out that she's I should have put at the beginning, but spoiler warning, obviously. But Amber found out she's actually not Soul Benson, and then Simone um talked to her and was like patient with her and wasn't trying to like push her to talk or anything, but to let her know that he is there for her when she is ready to talk, because it can't help to talk. But if she's not ready, then that's okay too, because he just wanted her to know that she's not alone. She has people. She has him. And I think that was the first time also that Amber actually realized that she had him, that she had somebody that actually cared about her and put her first, because not even her own godmother would. And then um, Amber stopped him from leaving.
Ambar, necesito pedirte un favor. Bueno, ¿quieres cantar conmigo? Necesito otra persona para hacer un dueto y obviamente pensé en ti. Luna va a cantar con Mateo. ¿Qué dices? No sé si me escuchaste. Bueno, ¿por qué no estás en la fiesta? Ambar, ¿estás bien? ¿Qué te pasa, bonita?
No lo sé. No lo sé todavía. Todavía no lo tengo claro.
Bueno, si tú quieres, puedo estar aquí. La verdad es que no tengo mucho tiempo, pero te espero. Tal vez te sirvo de compañía.
No. No te preocupes por mí. No, yo ya voy a estar bien. Anda y perdóname que no puedo ayudarte.
No pasa nada. No pasa nada. Quiero que estés bien, Ambar. Y no me gusta que te quedes las cosas guardadas. Hay maneras de sacarlas, como cantando o bailando. Tal vez contando ser un amigo, como a mí. Voy a salirme, ¿ok? Quédate tranquila, Ambar. Y lo que necesites, estoy aquí. Con permiso.
Simón, espera.
And then they end up singing "Como Me Vas," which is one of my favorite performances, and I might be slightly biased over it because of Simone and Amber, and I just love that scene, and um I love and the way they sung together and the way Simone would look at her and the way like one scene in particular during the performance was when they held hands and then Amber like breathed in and you can see her visibly relax while she's with Simone because even though there's a bunch of people watching, not just people in the room but obviously video and all the cameras, so like a lot of people were watching, in that moment you could see that she was relaxed because even though there are so many people watching, all that mattered was her and him in that moment.
Lo que quiera puedo ser como me ves cuando piensas que me iré todo al revés.
Un espejo, una señal.
¿Qué pasará?
Me preguntas qué será.
Verás
Lo que todos quieren ser.
cómo me ves.
Lo que siempre quieren
Me
ver.
fallaré.
Un espejo, una
¿Qué
señal.
pasará?
Me preguntas qué será.
Nada cambiará. Esto es lo que soy. Mirarte a los ojos sin perdón. Mi fuerza, mi destino, es mi canción. Voy a salir de tu espejo. Tu voz que a lo lejos me encontró. Palabras que envuelven mi corazón. ¿Cómo me ves? Soy tu reflejo. Siempre estará en mí tu amor. Quiero decirte
Como me ves yo soy.
voy a salir de tu espejo. Tu voz que a lo lejos me encontró. Palabras que envuelven mi corazón. ¿Cómo me ves? Soy tu reflejo. Siempre estará en mí tu amor. Quiero decirte cómo me ves yo soy.
And he was the only person that could make her feel better in a time like that because nobody could. I mean, even if she wasn't on the outs with Jasmine and Delphi, I still don't think they could have helped her through it. Like Simone was the only person that could because he's just such good-hearted and kind and patient, and he's just such a good person. Like I consider him the second purest character to ever exist after Tara from Buffy because two of my all-time favorite characters as well. And Piper, obviously. But yeah, and I just think that episode is what really turned the tables. It's like, oh my gosh, I am in love with this ship. This is my ship now, and that high just never died down. I'm still so obsessed with him. My Twitter account, which I post about TV shows and movies, so maybe I'll link it down below if you guys wanna. Cause it's multi fandom, so it's a bunch. Cause I'm not one person who's like I just like this show, so I'm gonna just post about this show or this ship. And even though I have my favorite ships that I post more than others, I still every so often I'll be like, oh, I'm really in the mood for this show, so I'm gonna post some stuff about this show. So, cause I just like so many different shows and movies and ships and characters. So yeah, but my profile pic is Simone and Amber, and my profile pic before this one was also Simone and Amber because I just changed the picture of them, and I do post a lot more of them than almost any other ship except for maybe Tara and Willow and Piper and Leo. But yeah, so maybe I'll link it down below if you guys want some. And I'm always up to talk about Simone and Amber because I love them so much. But yeah, so yeah, I think that's the episode that I fell in love with them, and I realized that this is my ship and I would forever love them. And just after that, more and more things that would happen was just made me love them more. And just sometimes little things, sometimes big things, and I just love them. One thing I love about them is that um like I said, I do love Luna and Mateo, but I feel like Simone and Amber, even more than other ships, not just Luna and Mateo, Simone and Amber have this maturity about them that feels a little unlike Disney. Like, don't get me wrong, I love a lot of Disney or Nick ships, um, but they just have a maturity to them that Disney and Nick ships don't always have. Because they're for kids, you know. So but Simone was always very mature, and the ages are all really weird. Like no one knows exactly the ages of like Simone, Nico, and Pedro. But I like to think that they're like barely over the age of 18 because otherwise it would be a little bit weird. But him and Amber don't actually get together until after she's an adult, so that makes it less weird. But then the whole Simone and Luna thing does make it a little bit weird. But anyways, Simone, I was pretty sure Simone is like let's say 18 and then or 19 at this point, and then Amber, let's say she's 18, and Amber was always, even in the beginning when she was like 16, she was very, very mature and mature for her age, which you could see. I just felt like there was such a maturity with Simone and Amber, and they felt like a real, authentic adult ship. Like both Piper and Leo were adults, and then Tara and Willow were adults by the time they met and started dating. So both those ships not only are from adult shows, but they both have maturity in them because they're adult characters. I mean, it's different than adult shows that have teenage characters like The Vampire Diaries or Pretty Little Liars, because even though I love those characters and I love those ships, they are still teenagers, so they're not always that mature because teenagers aren't always mature. There are characters that are overly mature for their age, like Amber, but I just felt like Simone and Amber are just so mature, and I love their domestic moments, and they just what I love one of the things I love about them is that they're just so real. They feel real, and it's like yeah, their relationship isn't perfect. Um, there was some lies and deceit on Amber's part, and then Simone was hurt, and um, which always breaks my heart because Simone deserves so much better, and he doesn't deserve all that pain that Amber caused him. But I still love them, and but they are adults and they do act like it, and they um like I said, they just feel so real. Um and take away the lies and deceits, they have this foundation about them, this trust, and like even after it, like obviously Simone was hurt and broke up with Amber, and which Amber was angry because Simone was the only person she had, the only person that kind of, I guess, anchored her so she wouldn't go too far off, the only person that made her believe she could do anything, that she was worth something. So she kind of goes on a dark path after Simone breaks up with her, but at the same time you can understand why he did. And um what Simone says to Amber was a bit mean, but at the same time completely called for. Like, Amber deserved to hear all of that. Like, what she did was not okay, and the way she hurt Simone was not okay. Um, but after Simone was over the initial shock and anger and sadness and despair over what Amber did, she was able to still see the good in her, which nobody else could. Everybody else, when Amber did what she did and stuff, they just turned their back on her just like that. And it's like, yeah, you could argue saying Simone did at first, but I don't think he did. He was just angry and he needed some space and time to think, which fair. Like, he earned that. He deserves that. But if he truly turned his back on her, he would have just kept turning his back on her. But he didn't. He went to her at the beginning of season 3, talked to her, and what I love about Simone as a character in general, okay, he's just such a kind of good person, and he gives everybody a chance, maybe more chances than they even deserved on Amber's part, let's be real, but he really tries to put himself in other people's shoes to understand why they act the way they act, to understand why they're doing what they're doing, which is what he did with Amber. Because after the whole party and she kind of, flew off the hinges and made that whole scene and stuff at Luna's party, um, Simone and Amber's conversation I absolutely love. I feel like it's such an underrated scene, and I never hear anyone talk about this aspect to Simone's character or Simone and Amber's relationship. And it's the fact that um, in that conversation, they were basically talking, and Simone was completely silent, listening to Amber's side, listening to how she feels, which she's explaining how um, her entire life she was told that this is her life, that this is what she would get because it all belonged to her. But then all of a sudden, they found out the truth about Luna, and now everything that Amber has worked so hard for is going to Luna, and she feels betrayed, like everybody turned their backs on her, and um which, like, what she's doing isn't right, but her feelings are validated, which is basically what Simone tells her. Like, he says, I understand why you feel the way you do, and you have every right to feel the way you do, but the way you're going about it is not right, because none of this is Luna's fault, none of this is Alfredo's fault, nor Monica or Miguel's. And I just absolutely love the way he listened to her and tried to understand her point of view and made sure she knew that her feelings were validated, while also telling her that the way she's going about this is wrong.
Qué casualidad. Los dos hacia la misma dirección.
¿Sí? Yo no estaría tan segura de eso.
¿Ah, no? ¿No vas hacia el Jam and Roller?
¿Me quieres acompañar?
Ambar, quería hablar contigo por lo que pasó ayer en la noche.
¿Sí? ¿Sí? ¿Qué pasó?
¿Sabes a qué me refiero, verdad?
Ay, no. No, Simón, por favor, no estoy de humor para que me des lecciones de vida. No tengo ganas. Ahorrate tus comentarios, bueno.
Ok, estuvo muy mal lo que hiciste ayer en la noche.
¿Por qué? Yo dije toda la verdad. Desde que volví de Cancún, nadie me registra. Mi madrina de repente se fumó. Nadie sabe dónde está. ¿Y qué se les ocurre hacer a mi prima? Porque, ojo, ahora es mi prima. Y a mi abuelo organizar una fiesta. Me parece súper desubicado.
Bueno, no fui de tu prima. No fui de tu prima, Ambar.
Ya lo sé. Pero ella aceptó ser parte de esa farsa.
No, pero Ambar, ¿por qué farsa? ¿Por qué? Tu abuelo estaba súper contento porque por fin descubrió la verdad y Luna estaba muy emocionada porque por fin descubrió qué onda con su pasado. ¿Eso te parece una farsa? ¿Te parece que está mal? Tú deberías emocionarte por eso, no deberías ponerte así.
¿Y a nadie se le ocurrió pensar en mí? ¿Nadie se dio cuenta de que quizás yo no tenía ganas de festejar nada?
Bueno, eso yo no lo pensé. O sea, Bueno, entiendo si te sentiste un poco afectada por eso.
Espera, ¿vos me estás diciendo que yo tengo razón?
No, estoy diciendo que te entiendo.
O sea, que te estás poniendo un poco de mi lado.
No, Ambar, aquí no hay helados.
¿Eso es lo que vos pensás? Igual no importa. Me gusta que me entiendas. ¿No será que muy, pero muy en el fondo, a vos te siguen pasando cosas conmigo?
O tal vez yo te gusto a ti y por eso me preguntas eso. Ambar, yo solamente quería hablar contigo porque quería decirte que no está bien que te hayas puesto así. Tú crees que le haces daño a los demás, pero en verdad te haces daño a ti misma. Te lo digo de todo corazón, neta. Piénsalo. Piénsalo y ojalá que esta vez no hagas lo de siempre. Lo que tú quieres.
Because you don't get many people, let alone characters on TV that are like that and who truly tries to understand your point of view and tells you, yes, your feelings are validated, but this is not the way to go about it because you're still in the wrong by doing this, but the way you feel is correct and like is validated, and it's just such a beautiful thing to see, which is why I'm so in love with Simone. I mean, if I was straight, but I still love Simone. um and so yeah, and I just feel like that is such an important thing about Simone's character and Simone and Amber's relationship, especially early season 3 when Simone was the only one that was really considering how Amber felt. So much that later on, when he finally realized that he is in love with her and that's not going to change, he tries to tell, after the whole number with Philippe and him and Luna were on the outs, Simone tries to tell uh, Luna how she feels, um and even when he's, one thing I also love about him is that when he is wrong, he will be quick to be like, "You're right, I was wrong. I'm sorry." Like, you don't always get that. Like, no offense, but I do like Mateo, but sometimes he gets on my nerves. Same with Luna. And don't get me wrong, I still love them. They're probably still high up on my list of characters, but sometimes they also infuriate me. Uh, and Mateo isn't like that. He won't. There's several times where he won't admit he's wrong, and he'll take forever to say he's sorry. But Simone will say it right away, like the conversation with Luna, and he's like, "No one's given her a chance," and Luna turns on him, and she's like, "I did. I gave her every chance," and brought back up what happened in the season 1 finale, where Amber tried to sabotage Luna, ended up sabotaging her own thing, and then Luna still ended up letting Amber go on with her, despite what Amber did. Simone was like, "You're right. I'm sorry." Um, but I just feel like that's all to show just how amazing person Simone is. Like, he truly is a kind-hearted, good, pure person, and he tries to think about how what everyone else is going through. Like, he understands what Amber's going through. He also understands why Luna can't forgive her so easily after everything Amber has done to her, and he understands it. And he's not trying to force Luna to forgive Amber because he knows it's going to take some time, and he's not trying to force Amber to. One of my favorite things, which is why I prefer Simbar over Lutteo. Okay, one of the first things I always mention when I compare the two, and I'm like, this is why I think Simbar is better. Obviously, this is just my opinion. So if you like Lutteo for whatever reason more than Simbar, then that is your opinion. Great. This is just my opinion, and this is the reasoning to my opinion. And it's that with Luna and Mateo, I always felt like um, Luna was trying to change Mateo to be the perfect boy for her, which is something Mateo even says during one of their like breakup scenes in season 2. And and he he just he's right because she does try to change him for himself, but also he doesn't always think of Luna's feelings when doing stuff, like when he was doing everything for the video career. Well, like at this one point I understand to a point because he went against his father. He's working now for the first time in his life. He was cut off from his father, um, all to prove that this music career can go somewhere, so it was important to him. He needed to prove not only to his father but to himself that he can make it as a singer. Um, so I get him his actions to a point, but there are still times that he went too far. Like he constantly throughout that storyline, um, kind of disregarded Luna's feelings about him lying about having a girlfriend, or him talking to a fan, which turned out to be Amber, but that's a whole other story. um, and he kept saying, "Oh, there's nothing. You're being silly and stuff." And he, at least I felt, other people might have perceived it differently, but I felt like he disregarded Luna's feelings a lot during that storyline, um, saying how, "Oh, it's nothing. She shouldn't worry." It's like that's not what you say to somebody who's worried because you're starting to become a big star and they're afraid you'll leave them, or they're afraid that you'll want to be with a star, whatever, you know. You need So yeah, so Mateo just got my nerves there. The thing that made me the angriest though was when when he humiliated Simone on live TV. Like there was no point for that. Like that is when I wanted to punch the screen and yell at Mateo, and like I wanted to go in to Soy Luna just so I can strangle him. That's how mad he made me. And I might be slightly biased just because Simone is my favorite character, and I feel like everything he's been through is just so overlooked. That's the word I was looking for. It was just so overlooked. Um, but then what kills me, okay, is that afterwards, a couple episodes after, Simone defends Mateo to Luna, saying, he's not all bad. He's not a bad guy. I'm like, this is why he's my favorite character. Mateo legit humiliates him. A couple episodes later, he defends him to his girlfriend who's about to break up with him. Like, she is on that verge at this point. And he literally is like, oh, he's not a bad guy, despite what he just did, which kind of proves him otherwise. Like, I'm sorry. Even though I do like Mateo, I didn't like Mateo during this storyline. Okay, I didn't. But what he did is kind of being a bad guy, because you don't just you don't just humiliate someone on live TV just for the drama or whatever, especially since Simone didn't know what was going on and he wouldn't have agreed in the first place because he wants to do this the right way. He wants to be real and authentic instead of fake like Mateo was being. And okay, so I do like Mateo, but in this storyline I don't. Okay, in this storyline I do not like him. But then I do understand why he was upset, and then what Luna was doing during the breakup scene I was just talking about, where they said this is done forever, which of course it wasn't. But um, I am on Mateo's side on that one, just because Luna was like, "Oh, you should." Mateo was upset because the video contract to become a singer and get an album, they just kind of threw it away, like, "Nope, this isn't gonna happen anymore." Um, and he was rightfully upset about it. Like he worked hard to get to where he was, and this is his only chance to prove himself to his dad and himself. So I get why he's upset. And Luna trying to tell him that it doesn't matter, he can just forget about it and come help us because we need your help in the roller rink. That was wrong. That was so wrong. I mean, honestly, okay, I like Luna and Mateo. I liked them in season one. I like them, and not as a couple, but as individual characters, because they do have their moments as a couple in season two. Um, like Olive Boy, that's a great scene. But as individual characters, I like them in season one, and I like them in season three. Season two, I did not like either one of them. Okay, that is the thing. Season two was just not the best season for either one of them. Mateo was more of a jerk than he had ever been, and Luna was a bit selfish and entitled in that season. So, yeah. But anyways, off of Lutteo, since this is supposed to be about Simbar. Um, but my point, because I was talking about Lutteo and how she always tried to change him, Simone once wanted Amber to be her best self for herself, which is something I love, which is something you don't always see. When you see like a person changing to be a better person for the other person, you don't usually see it done in the way Simone and Amber's is done. And it's so beautifully done, and I absolutely love it. There's even one conversation that sticks out to me personally, and in season 3, later in season 3, when Simone is like, he basically tells her, I don't want you to change for me. I want you to be who you are for yourself because you deserve it. You deserve to have everything, and you deserve to be your true, authentic self and have friends and be happy and be loved. And that is why I prefer Simbar over Lutteo.
Simón, yo te quería pedir perdón por lo que pasó. Ah, no me vas a contestar. Estaba por agarrar esa tostada yo.
No lo quiero.
Ay, Simón, dale. Dale, de verdad. ¿Cuánto tiempo más vas a seguir así? Ya te pedí perdón, te acabo de pedir perdón, te vuelvo a pedir perdón. Yo sé que estuve mal, que cometí un error y que vos me diste la oportunidad para que lo arregle y no lo hice y estoy re arrepentida. No sé, ¿de verdad te parece tarde para perdonarme? ¿Cómo hago para que me perdones? Decime qué querés que haga y lo hago, pero decímelo.
Te diría que cambies, pero es que no es que tienes que cambiar. Es que tienes que ser tú, Ambar. ¿No te cansas? Pero de verdad te lo pregunto, ¿eh? ¿No te cansas de ver cómo la gente que te quiere se aleja de ti por tus acciones? ¿No te dan ganas de cambiar algo, Ambar? ¿No te dan ganas de ser tú? No sé. Yo te meto aquí.
Well, that's just one of the reasons. I just love them. Like everything about them, I love. But that is like the main reason that I put them over Lutteo, is because of the way that Luna was always trying to change Mateo for herself. She wanted him to be she wanted him to be different so that she can be with him. Whereas Simone wanted Amber to be herself for herself, not for anybody else. She shouldn't change who she is for somebody. She should just be her true self because she deserves it, because she has earned it. And I'm just like, that's just so beautiful in so many ways, and it's one reason why I love Simone and I love Simbar. But yeah, um, but one thing I also love about them is that they don't even really like they just have this such understanding of each other that I feel like so many other couples don't have with each other. Like I feel like with Luna Mateo and Nina and Gaston, they both and Pedro and Duffy maybe. I might be wrong about that one. But I feel like so many couples in this show, I feel like it happens to Disney a lot, which is a trope really hate, but it's miscommunication. And I feel like so many couples in the show had that at least once or twice in their relationship. I think Luna and Mateo had that more than a few times. But I feel like Simone and Amber never actually had that miscommunication. They either actually talk to each other to understand what's going on, or they just they didn't need to talk at all because they had this understanding for each other. One example of this is when um see one of my favorite Simbar scene, my favorite scene in all of Soy Luna really, and is when Simone and Amber get back together, and Simone does that huge, beautiful, grand gesture for Amber, and when Amber's coming down the stairs and Simone's holding that rose, they literally do not talk. They talk afterwards to and everything, but for the longest time they're just staring at each other as Amber's walking down, and then when they reach each other, they just stare at each other for a moment longer and then they kiss. And then they talk about their relationship, about wanting this to be forever, about wanting to make this right this time, but not wanting to mess it up this time. But the fact that they didn't even need to talk or anything before, they knew that this was their moment. They just understood each other perfectly in that moment. And that it was a connection that I never felt with any other of these Soy Luna ships. that I felt like they did have. Plus, they don't, like I said, they never had the miscommunication trope. When something goes down, and they at least talk to each other. Like when Simone found out about the fire, he saw the scarf. Obviously, knew what it was, but he needed a minute to process, so he left. But when him and but then he finally ended up confronting Amber about it, and um, they talked, and it was heartbreaking, but they talked. And with Philippe's number, when he realized it, he didn't just assume Amber had anything to do with it. He talked to Amber about it. He was like, "Did you have something to do with this? This is Benicio's handwriting. Did you know about it? Were you in on it?" And he talked to her about it, which I just feel like there's so many, like, they just had that standing, and even when they were jealous, when um Amber was jealous of Emma, they talked, like, during the Day of the Dead conversation before they started talking about Day of the Dead. Amber talked to Simone about it and stuff, like, obviously, and then with, like, Luna and Matteo, when Luna was jealous of Mitchell, they just, he just assumed that the two of them were together. And for the longest time, even before he saw them kiss. Um, and then they didn't talk the entirety of the beginning of season 2, because Mateo, like I said, that was just not Mateo's season. And um, so yeah, I just felt like they didn't have the same connection and the same understanding and the same trust and communication that Simone and Amber have. I don't feel like any of the ships did, which is another reason why they're just so much better, in my opinion, why they are my favorites, and why they are just up there in my top 3 favorite ships of all time. I just love them so much. Everything about them. Um, I plan to do a top 20 Simone and Amber scenes soon, so definitely be looking for that, because I'm so excited to talk about my favorite Simone and Amber scenes. I did a post on Twitter because I found some mutuals on Twitter who love Simone and Amber as much as I do, and I asked, "Hey, what are your favorite moments so I can do this video?" And they sent me some moments. So I still haven't actually put it together. I'm actually about to do that after this, and then look through those and see what there is, because I am so excited to talk more about Simone and Amber, because like I said, I am obsessed with them. But if you guys want a part 2 of me talking more about Simone and Amber, why they're my favorite ships, or just some of my favorite scenes, or just why I love them, or whatever, if you want a part 2 of me ranting about Simbar, just let me know. I would love to make that video, because I love talking about them. So please like and subscribe and comment if you like Simbar, what's your favorite Simbar moments, and I'll talk to you guys next time.